welcome here. Today we are talking all about under eyes. Oftentimes this is like the #1 issue I have hearing from women or people that are using their makeup. Even my non-makeup wearers. I don't wear a lot of makeup, but if I do, I want to cover my under eyes, or I have a really hard time covering the darkness, or I get a lot of creasing. All of these issues are going to be solved for you in this video. Oftentimes it comes down to basically only like a couple reasons. So one being that under our eyes, our skin is so thin and delicate that just the thinness shows a little bit of those veins. You get a little bit of that blue-green kind of look, sometimes a little bit more purpley to the eye. And then the next reason oftentimes is whether you have genetically like an actual bag under your eye that's causing a shadow, or if you have like a ridge, which is just along your natural orbital bone. So my under eyes specifically, just for an example for you, I have a lot of like darkness on the inner, and then kind of just like right under my eye on the inside, there's like a little bit of blueness, and then I have like a tiny little bit of a ridge there that causes a little bit of shadowing as well. So between a combination of those couple of things, oftentimes there are ways that we can correct that. Now, you're not going to get rid of the wrinkles, you're not going to get rid of the actual bags themselves. There's nothing in the world besides actually like doing some cosmetic changes. But with makeup, basically we're just going to trick the eye into seeing what's not actually there. So getting into that, I hope you've shared this video with somebody who you also know is struggling, and if you do, please let me know because I would love to give you a thank you. And these tips and tricks can be applied to any makeup routine that you use. So today I'm going to be using Saint Beauty. This is the makeup company that I work with, but any makeup that you use at home will work perfectly fine. Just basically showing you the idea of how to tackle these under eyes. So if you're just catching this video and you don't know who I am, my name is Courtney. I probably should have introduced myself at the start, but I was just so excited to talk about under eyes. My name's Courtney with Minimally Enhanced. I'm partnered with a makeup company, Saint Beauty. If you want a little bit more information about that, you can just send me a message. I just want to get right into this video. So the first, I'll do on one side of the eye. The first reason for that darkness is basically just that thin tissue showing a little bit of like kind of bluesy purples, maybe no little greens under there. So to do that, what we're going to do is go in with a little bit of a color correcting color. So Saint has a couple options for this depending on the under eye color. So if you want some help, let me know. Right now I am loving Amber. It's a little bit of an orangey undertone. Mango is another great one that Saint offers, but basically I'm just tapping in with a small rounded brush. This is the smudge brush. You could just use an eyeshadow brush you have at home or even your finger. But I'm just taking a little tiny amount on kind of the rounded fluffy end, and basically we're just going to place that product right where the darkness is. So we are no longer swiping a big layer of concealer underneath the eyes that's just going to move and crease and annoy us throughout the day. We're just going to take this color, which is a little bit darker than you'd think we'd put under the eye, but what it's going to do is add coverage. And I'm just feathering that out where that darkness is. You can already see that made like a huge difference. And because I'm not using a shade that's overly dark, I'm not going to need to put a concealer color over top. You're not going to see any orangey or yellowy tones. And I'm just going to take a little bit to the inner eye here because I have some darkness there as well. But just doing that itself completely brightens that eye away. You can totally tell the difference. Now, before I go into how we can kind of add that brightness, I want to go in on this side and use it as an example. If you have like a bit of a trough, or if you have a bit of a bag that kind of sits out from your eye and shows a bit of the shadow, you can kind of see my shadow there a little bit more. But basically it's just like the normal edge of your eye bone that's causing a normal ridge. It's basically just a shadow. So we're going to trick the eye to not notice that shadow. So I'm going to go in with a different brush. This is a multitasker brush. Any like small eyeliner brush would work, or again if you have like a small eyeshadow brush. So I'm just going to take my brightest shade. I'm going to use our new shade Versailles. If you have a brightener shade through Saint, you can use that. Basically, I'm going to take something that's really, really light, and we're just going to look straight ahead in your mirror. If your shadow or crease is a little bit more defined, this will be a little bit easier for you, but basically I'm just taking a little bit of that product, and I'm just going to put that right where that ridge is. So you're just kind of tracing that shadow, and you're just going to leave it at that. There we go. And then you can just take your finger, probably like your ring finger or your pinky finger, because it's a little bit gentler, and just kind of tap that out. This can work for any place that you have wrinkles. If you have like a couple of 11 lines that are very dark, you can kind of use this. Basically, it's just like eliminating that shadow. How cool is that? If you have some like mouth lines that are very prominent, you can just kind of take a little bit of that brightener on that shadow there, tap it away. You're just kind of tricking the eye and bringing that lightness forward where the darkness makes it look more obvious. So that's the option there. And then when it comes to brightening, basically on this side, I've kind of corrected and all the under eye is now the same color. But if you want to brighten, you can go in with your brightening shade. And I'm just going to tap a little bit, not necessarily right up under my eye, but I'm just going to bring it actually a little bit lower, kind of behind my normal orbital bone crease. And I'm just going to blend this brightening shade underneath, or like a concealer shade if you have it home. I'm just blending this out. I'm not even going up way under the eye, but you can see how that really lifted and brightened. If you want, you can kind of bring a little bit over on this side as well to kind of brighten too. Same thing over on this side if you like a little bit of brightness. Obviously I haven't concealed my actual like purpleness in my eye, but just for the sake of the different two, I'll just kind of show you. Same thing, I would just kind of brighten below where that shadow is. I wouldn't brighten anything above because oftentimes there's no discoloration there if you just have a trough. So you can do that. And then again, if you want the outer eye lift, you can just tap a little bit of the product on the outer eye there. So cool. So this side is how I would correct my own eye. I kind of take care of the little bit of the discoloration and I'm kind of brightening underneath. I'm keeping tiny amount of product so that's not going to move and crease throughout the day. If it does, just take your finger and kind of tap everything back into place. And if you don't like a super shiny under eye, you can kind of take a little bit of your setting powder and kind of mattify that. But I hope this video was helpful. I'm going to post a couple graphics on my Facebook page just to kind of show the different examples and where I would place either your correcting color or your brightening color. But I hope that this helps you with your under eyes, and if you have some troubles and you want a little bit more help, please send me a message, or if you want some colors that I would suggest to kind of help a little bit of correcting under your own under eye, you can fill out the color match form in my bio. I would love to help you out. And yeah, don't forget to share this with any friends that you know that may be struggling with their under eye and love to hear these tips. And I hope you guys have an amazing rest of your Monday. So we'll see you next week.